السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم.
ازيكم؟ How are you?
Oh, I'm good, alhamdulillah. How about you, doctor?
Sorry?
No, how about you?
I'm fine, thanks. Now I'm asking about the rest of you. I have to.
Inshallah, I think that they will join now.
Oh, okay. Admit all
Yeah.
class. Together join.
I'll send them a message now to just they are
They are appearing one by one.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You're welcome, doctor. Is that meeting recorded?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Great.
محمد يا صلاح، اللي انت عملته النهارده ده يا مو صلاح 3 في مان يونايتد يا راجل، حرام عليك. Okay, shall we start now? 1 second.
Yeah, let me check the rest to just join.
All right, after your permission, I'll start now. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Most welcome to our meeting on classical literature. This is meeting number 1. And I also welcome Dr. Mona, and I'm saying that she's going to be with you very soon بإذن الله. All right. admit all. لو كلكم بس يجوا في وقت واحد عشان بس ما افضلش متعطل كده. مفيش مشكلة. admit all ماشي. Okay, I'll wait for 2 minutes ولا حاجة, a couple of minutes, so that everyone will be here with us. And I would like to ask to thank everyone who helped towards making the group a success. This is quite separate from the other group, so please keep everything about this group within this group. Don't publish data about this group in the other group, please. Keep the other one public and keep this for the 2 courses only. Remember? Okay. Close this. Okay, share screen. Now you're following? خلاص? Can you see the screen now? Is it in front of you now?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah.
تمام. And let me check for the kind of audio. Choose video. معلش بس في الأول كده. Speaker, okay. I guess it will be better now. تمام. All right. خلاص هبدأ بقى دلوقتي. If you have problems with the slides or with the voice, I ask you to alert me and let me know so I can fix things. Okay. So this is our first lecture, and welcoming everyone, of course. Let me start by arguing, first of all, or providing you with the major argument about the whole course. The major argument I'm defending or espousing in this course is that almost all pieces of literature in not only in the contemporary world, but also in the modern world, in the classical world, in the Victorian age, in the 18th century, in whatever century of English literature and French literature and world literature have all these types of literature, whether poetry or drama or the novel, have their echo in classical literature. And of course, would be keen on knowing what classical literature is. But for the time being, classical literature is a number of works of art written by Greek writers at the time before the birth of Christ. Let's say before history has been really made and recorded. So we have the works of Aristotle, of Plato, of Socrates, of Euripides, of Aeschylus, of Menada, and also of Sophocles, the one writer in whose work we are going to be interested. Whatever those Greek writers said and did, okay, came to us, it has been bequeathed to us through the ages, right? And it has been affecting writers from the very beginning, from the dawn of history, from the dawn of the history of English literature. And this is my basic argument. My basic argument is that the study of classical literature should not be just confined to the study of a certain text belonging to Greek literature or to Roman literature. And it is your job and my job too to define what classical literature is and the period of time in which it was written. But I am saying that this is not our basic job to study a text belonging to that period of time, but our study should be actually extended to cover other things. في ناس بتكتب أهو كتر خيرهم ماشي تمام. We should be interested in the effects of these texts and these writers and these principles of criticism and these principles of literature upon subsequent writers, whether these subsequent writers are English or whoever, are 18th century writers or 21st century writers. So that has been my basic introductory note in which I sum up the whole course. The whole course boils down to this. It boils down to the fact that the works of great writers in classical times, with classical times here, the times in which great works of art have been written by Greek and Roman writers before the birth of Christ, and how far these works and these writers and these principles gone through and permeated, have gone through and permeated the works or subsequent works of literature up till today. تمام? So here, and that is why if you read with me, literature is one whole body. Here I'm not saying English literature, I'm saying literature in general. I'm saying English literature in general sorry, I'm saying literature in general, not defining or limiting myself to a specific type or a specific age or a specific country producing literature. But literature in general is one whole body. That is to say, it is coherent, it is interconnected, interlocked, and that is why in each stage of its development, it at once absorbs the achievements of its precedent heritage and follows naturally into the type of literature that follows. You will be reading this in my textbook, inshallah. Once again, it's one whole body, all right? You cannot say that this is Egyptian literature or Arabic literature or English literature or French literature and full stop. No, there are traces of classical literature permeating our own literature, and our own literature is going to be affecting other types and other ages of literature as well. And in each stage of its development, that is to say, literature, it has absorbed, or it should absorb, or it does absorb the achievements of its precedent heritage. It has inherited, or it inherits all the time, okay, the achievements of the critical heritage and the literary heritage of the previous age or the previous ages, and then follows naturally into the type of literature that follows. That is to say, it also affects the next field, the next genre, the next kind of literature that comes after this stage or this particular type of literature we are talking about. This continues. This continuous interaction, especially in English drama, can be shed light on. For the sake of convenience, we can sum this up in terms of content.
English drama can be shed light
لو
in
سمحت
relation to the
يا حاج محمد اقفل الصوت خلاص انا muted محمد. وبعدين this is a quite interesting quotation from a writer called Chambers, in which he says that we may dream of all our literature, whether in prose or in verse, in modern English or in early English or in Latin, that is to say, in all cultures, in all ages, in all languages. Our literature, ما قالش American literature, he's American, but he's not talking here about American literature. He's talking about all types of literature. سواء كان prose, written in prose, written in verse, سواء كان in English or in French or English or in Latin, in the past or in the present, as the work of one spirit. As the work of one spirit, that is to say, حد يعرف يفسر لي العبارة دي؟ بالمناسبة بس عشان ما نتوهش من بعض. Is it the job of a teacher in this stage اللي هو the pre-master stage to teach you classical literature or to explain, that is to say, in detail, and to give you detailed information about writers and about text? No. I forgot to ask my usual question. معلش يعني I apologize for that, ولكن this is one of the questions that I always love to ask my students at the beginning of the preliminary year. And here I am. I'm asking the question again. Are you students or are you researchers? Can you please come up with an answer to this?
Yes.
Somebody?
Okay. So we can say that we are both of them. Okay. All the time we are students. We just search. So we are always students. Even we are like doctors or professors. We still students. Have knowledge. We're using or through research more and more. So I can say just both of them, I think.
Both of them, تمام, thank you. I take Dua's answer to be correct, ولكن I'm waiting for more answers, please. You students or researchers? with all due respect to your colleague, you are not students anymore. You are not students, you are researchers. She has taken it in the respectable sense, in the human sense, the gentle angle of vision. على اعتبار ان مهما كبرت فانا تلميذ للاستاذ بتاعي, which is fine, and I wish to thank you for that. But actually, this is not the point. The point is that you have to change your turn of mind, your frame of mind. You're not a student in the sense that you go to college, you attend lectures, you wait for your teachers to explain everything and to give you detailed information about the subject matter at hand. And then it is your job to summarize or to edit and then to prepare answers for the final exam. This is the function of a student in the traditional sense of the word. But now you are not a student anymore. You are a candidate for the MA, preparing yourself for registration of a topic in an MA or a PhD degree. And that is why you've grown up from the stage of being a student into the stage of being a researcher. What does a researcher do? He relies on himself or on herself all the time. He doesn't rely on his teacher. And his teacher opens his or her eyes only. The job of the teacher in this stage is to open your eyes to certain important areas of research, certain important writers, certain important elements, pieces of research to attract your attention and to draw your attention to such matters so that you can research them and make your own point about them. Do you get my point? So whatever we say here is just, signposts, علامات كده خارقة في الطريق. احنا بنقف عندها we stop at these matters in order to attract your attention and to guide you through the process of research. Enough introduction بقى بالنسبة للنقطة دي. فبالتالي what I'm doing is wrong actually. What I'm doing إن أنا أشرح بقى classical literature وأجيب لك تفاصيل وكده. المفروض أقول لك عندنا classical literature وعندنا النص الفلاني والكاتب الفلاني والمرحلة الفلانية والفوكس بتاعنا هيبقى كذا. اتفضل عيش حياتك. وده اللي كان بيحصل معانا غالبا في وبيحصل في معظم المحاضرات وفي معظم الجامعات. بس هو الواحد اللي ما بيتعلمش بقى بيميل اكتر للlecturing and teaching paths because I love teaching so much, which is another story. So خدنا ده. This is another pivotal quotation that must be pondered upon, that must be pondered. لازم نفهم الquotation ده. All right, there is scarcely an idea discussed today that has not already been debated and embroidered on by the writers of ancient Greece. That is to say, debated and embroidered. And now it's my job to ask you, يلا قول لي اتفضل حضرتك ايه معنى الكلام ده؟ ها read and then show بقى the researcher in you. الشريحة واضحة قدامكم مش كده؟ شباب؟
مصغرة جدا يا دكتور.
صغيرة وفي حد بيكتب هنا لذيذ قوي. بيكتب بيعمل خطوط بيرسم حاجات. انتوا فاضيين؟ ها؟ الناس كلها قدامي وهيطلع لي ليست بالاسماء. انا شايف الناس باسمائها اهو. ومصيري اظبط اللي بيكتب ده واللي بيحط خطوط. اللي كتب دبل ده يشيلها تاني. ونص. ها؟ ماشي يا سيدي او يا ستي. نشيل بقى. ما انتوا لو فضلتوا تعملوا كده احنا مش عيال صغيرين. ها؟ احنا في تمهيدي ماجستير لا مؤاخذة.
الشاشة مصغرة جدا يا دكتور مش قادرين نقرأها.
طب ثواني بس انا عندي حد بيكتب على الشاشة عندي وظاهرة قدامكم مش كده؟ الكتابة ظاهرة؟
هي زهرة بس مش عارفين مين اللي بيكتب.
ايوه يا زهرة عندنا برضو مش عارفة مين اللي بيكتب.
يعني انا عندي 3 محاضرات النهارده في الكلية وفضلت ما اعتذرش واجي لكم بالليل واحضر قبلها واجي لكم واسهر معاكم عشان نشتغل، تقوموا تعملوا حاجات زي كده، اخس عليكم. الشاشه
يا دكتور هما كاتبين we can't hear، فتقريبا مش عارف ازاي يشغل الصوت.
ايه علاقه الصوت بالكتابه يا بنتي؟ انا بتكلم على الكتابه اللي مغطيه على الشريحه كده. الشريحه كبرت شويه.
لا لسه صغير يا دكتور.
هي واضحة حاليا، هي واضحة أنا شايفاها.
انا مش قادره اشوف.
زي الحقيقه يعني. ده اخر حاجه ممكن اوصل لها. طيب لو عملنا كده بس مش هتبان، الكتابه هتكبر. اوكي. This is all I can do about it. فأنا كنت عامل الأول عرض الشاشة اللي هو ده. كده كبيرة ولا صغيرة؟
كبيرة يا دكتور. كبيرة واضحة يا دكتور.
حلو جميل. ماشي بس يعني please stop writing يعني أو scratching things or jotting
هو
down.
اللي بيكتب بس هو الصوت عنده مش واضح.
اللي بيكتب الصوت، إيه علاقة الكتابة بالصوت؟ أنا واحد الصوت عندي مش واضح، هو أكتب أعطل الناس. الصوت واضح عند الكل أهو، فاللي عنده مشكلة يطلع ويدخل تاني هيلاقي الصوت اتظبط إن شاء الله. أوكي إحنا شرحنا لحد هنا وبعد كده وصلنا للشريحة دي and I'm asking you read this and let me see how you can interpret this, please.
I think. Okay, doctor, can I answer?
أشوف بس مين، اتفضل. ماشي.
Okay, so I think that this
okay.
paragraph looks.
أنت
Okay,
بعيدة
so
خالص
this
عن
paragraph.
sorry. أنت بعيدة عن الميكروفون يا أستاذة منى، قربي عشان الصوت يبقى واضح.
Okay, so I think that it talks about like any idea that we discuss it today in our literature, Latin literature and Greek literature. People talked about it before, so we don't discuss anything new. Everything is like emanated from our ancient literature. That's the meaning of the literature is like a Holy Spirit. We can say that the literature in the recent era different from now. No, it's like a whole chain that we talk about it.
يا منى يعني سامحيني this is not clear enough. I have not managed to capture what you're saying because there is an echo in your voice on your end. Please fix your voice الأول عشان يبقى أنا واضح. ها اتفضلي. لو حد تاني عنده صوت أنقى شوية يرد. Admit, okay. تمام. I have to do it myself للأسف. هنقول you have two underlined words, debated and embroidered, and the sentence begin in the negative. There is scarcely. وبعدين عندنا negative تاني. There is scarcely. الماوس بيتحرك قدامكم ولا ما بيتحركش؟
أيوة بيتحرك.
كلمة scarcely ده negation، والكلمة اللي بعدها has not negation كمان. فالنفي ايه في اللغة الإنجليزية؟ double negation is one affirmation. صح؟
Positive.
يبقى all ideas discussed today have already been debated by writers in Greco-Roman times. Do you understand? All ideas that writers make use of or discuss today have been debated before and have been embroidered before. what is the meaning of debated and embroidered؟ هو نقدر نقول في المقابل كلمة form and content or content and form. يعني there is no single idea today talked about today إلا لو كان لها origin أو root in Greek literature. وكذلك برضو الامبرويدري اللي هو beautification أو figures of speech أو technique أو structure أو form in general اللي بيطلع دلوقتي وكل شويه بيتعدل الا وبرضه having its roots in Greco-Roman literature. That is to say, form and content. Debate means discussion. Okay? Embroidery means shape. فمن حيث الكونتنت، من حيث الايدياز، من حيث الثيم for example، من حيث البيربورت، المينينج، الحاجات دي كلها كان أصلها فين؟ عند الجريكس. وأيضا the shape given, the form, the literary form itself، سواء قلنا مثلا دراما، قلنا tragedy، قلنا comedy، قلنا poem، قلنا novel، novella، ballad، epic، الشورت ستوري، المسائل دي كلها بنعتبرها برضو لها أساس عند جريكو رومان writers. And I'm explaining this, and you will find this in the textbook. Let us not take much time doing it. This is an example from Lady Macbeth by Shakespeare at the end of the 16th century. And the other example is from Antigone, the play that one of the plays actually that we are going to discuss and to study together, inshallah. Between Antigone and Macbeth, you know how many years separate the publication of Antigone and the publication of Lady Macbeth, in your point of view, in your surmise, in your guessing, in your guesswork? برأيك يعني يفصل بينهم كام سنة؟ بالتقدير كده. Hello?
ليدي ماكبث اتعمل في القرن ال16، انما اللي هو القصيده الثانيه عموما يعني الجريك والرومان هتلاقي عملوه قبل الميلاد
طب
فكتير يعني.
الإجابة هتكون إيه؟
لا مش عارفه والله، بس هم كتير.
أوكي. ماكبث اللي هو عنوان المسرحية بتاعت شكسبير كان في السنوات الأخيرة من القرن ال16، نقول سنة 1599 تقريبا، أو إن لم تخن الذاكرة 98 99. أما دي فكان سنة 600 تقريبا قبل الميلاد، ف600 بالإضافة ل 1599 يعني 1600، يعني تقريبا 2200 سنة. تخيلوا بقى 2200 سنة. quite a lot actually. يعني احنا لما بنقول القرن العشرين والقرن ال21 تحس ان العالم ده عاش كتير قوي. Do you understand? even after that time gap separating the publication of Antigone and the publication of Macbeth, you have that kind of mutual effect or effect نسميها the anxiety or effect على رأي هارولد بلوم. فنقرا الأول Antigone. الجزء اللي على اليمين ده Creon is the king. alright. الجزء اللي على الشمال Lady Macbeth is the wife of the king. بس هشرح دي ودي. Creon is the king after subjugating everyone and controlling everyone in the kingdom, and after being the major cause behind the death of the fiancée of his own son, and his own son himself برضه committing suicide because of the foolishness of his father Creon. Understand? And also the death of his own wife. His wife too commits suicide when she sees that her son has killed himself. يبقى how many people دلوقتي is he in charge of killing? About 3. Most of them, all of them are his relatives, his son and his wife, in addition to the fiancée of his son, who happens to be بقى هي أصلا مين ال fiancée of his son? She is his niece. What is niece? She's his niece. That is to say, she's the daughter of his sister. في المسرحية كده. طبعا اقرا عن أنتيجوني عشان تعرف التفاصيل بتاعتها، وانا هبعت لك فايل دلوقتي لو في وقت نقرا سوا. بيلخص المسرحية كلها والأصول التاريخية بتاعتها، لأن هي ليها أصول في الثقافة الإغريقية. المهم يعني كل ده طالع من القصة بتاعت Oedipus the king who killed his father and then got married to his mother unknowingly or inadvertently. He doesn't know that he did this, and بس في النهاية he's responsible for this kind of crime. It's an abominable, horrible crime, and for this crime he has to suffer all the way through. He does suffer all the way through, from havoc, from destruction, from failure, from disappointment, from resentment on the part of everyone in the kingdom, because he has committed that horrible mistake, which is not just horrible because of death, because of its violation of the cosmology that culture and that nation at that time. عشان ما نطولش في الجزئية دي نرجع تاني. خلاص خدنا الخلفية إن Creon is a murderer not only of ordinary people but a murderer of his own household. But after the murder بقى he regains his mind and his senses and he's saying a gathering place for death. I just want you to pay attention to A والنقط اللي جنبها. النقط اللي جنبها دي وانت بتاخد بقى مادة methodology معناها ايه؟ شاطر يقول لما اكتب نقط معناها ايه؟ وانا بكتب بحث رسالة مثلا ماجستير دكتوراه بيبر حاجة زي كده ثم هتلاقي كوتيشن كده انا استخدمت كلمة وقمت بعد الكلمة جايب 3 نقط او 5 نقط. عدد النقط نفسه بتفرق. بيبقى لها significance معين. دي بنسميها في اللينجويستكس بنسميها ellipses. What is ellipses؟
ellipsis ممكن هو يكون حذف حاجة من الجزئية دي وحاطط مكانها النقط.
تمام بالظبط. ثانك يو. حذف معناها حذف انه حذف كلمة او كلمتين. رايت فهنا فعلا في كلمة محذوفة اللي هي تكرار لكلمة a يعني he's crying, you know, but this is the closest that the writer can go in order to portray for you accurately the pain in which and the grief from which Creon suffers and he's crying his heart out, a gathering place for death. No sacrifice can bring this to an end. Whatever I do, I cannot atone for this. I cannot end this. I've been the major cause behind this, and this is his outcry at the start of the quotation. Here, Lady Macbeth بقى أنا باخد الكلام ده من حيث بس الكونتنت. ما بالك بقى بالفورم نفسه اللي هو طبعا استخدام الايروني، استخدام التراجيك هيرو، استخدام الدراما، استخدام الستراكشر نفسه وازاي بيعمل سوفوكليس اللي هو الكاتب بتاع المسرحية بيعمل sophisticated structuring of the play. The same thing has been done by Shakespeare. And Shakespeare, for your knowledge, if you don't know, has been accused of one grave accusation. حد يعرف ايه الاكيوزيشن الكبيرة لشكسبير؟ Though, of course, he is one of the greatest. Though Shakespeare is one of the greatest writer worldwide. ولكن there is a problem behind the writings of William Shakespeare. ايه هي؟ أظن أول مرة.
أنا مش فاكرة قوي يا دكتور المسرحية دي، بس اللي أنا فاكراه من حضرتك إن هو كان واخد البلوت أو القصة من حاجة حصلت أو كاتب تاني كان كاتبها وحاول إن هو يعدل عليها لو أنا فاكرة صح.
إنه thank you very much. هو مين اللي بيتكلم معايا دلوقتي؟ What's your name?
نسرين.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nisreen. One of the gravest problems about the writings of William Shakespeare اللي هي طبعا عظيمة والناس كلها تأثرت بيها is that he has been accused of copying the stories and the tales. خاصة الكتاب المشهور بتاع اسمه Lives of the Great بتاع بلوتارك. بلوتارك جمع فيه القصص بتاعت روميو and جولييت وأنتوني and كليوباترا وإيديبس وكل القصص العظيمة اللي هو وجوليوس سيزر اللي كتب عنهم شكسبير مسرحياته. قام واخدها وعمل لها ري رايتنج نفس القصة ونفس البلوت، بس طبعا الستايل بتاع ويليام شكسبير متفرد. It's a unique style. ولكن he's been accused of borrowing, not just borrowing ولكن darting upon انقض على الماتيريال دي وخدها وعمل منها المسرحيات بتاعته. فربما يكون القصة نفسها في جزء منها هنا direct quotation from Sophocles. فعشان كده بص كده بدل ما نقرا ايه في الاول نقرا بقى دلوقتي ايه اللي في الاخر خالص في الكوتيشن بتاع ليدي ماكبيث. Oh, right? It's the same thing. She is in pain. She suffers from a lot of agony. Why does she suffer from a lot of agony? Why is she expressing that kind of profound agony here? Because she has similarly been responsible for the death of بقى مش المرة دي her relatives ولكن the death of the king. If you don't know the story, let me remind you if you forgot about the story of Macbeth. هي المسرحية اسمها Macbeth مش Lady Macbeth. In the play, there is a great, successful, powerful, loved officer called Macbeth. Loved by everyone and loved particularly by the king, اللي اسمه Duncan. But Lady Macbeth, his wife, is not convinced. She doesn't just want Macbeth to be a mere officer or a mere warrior, helping and serving the king. She instigates him, she exhorts him, she nags him, she urges him to be king. بتقول له you must be the king. أنا مش مقتنع بدانكن ده، أنا يعني I want you to be the king yourself. قال لها but Duncan is the king. If I know, and that is why you have to kill him. And she keeps nagging. And you know, of course, when a woman keeps nagging, what happens, right? And especially when the man, like Macbeth, is weak or quite weak in front of his wife. So he finally succumbs. عارفين الفعل succumb to. He succumbs to the demands and the nagging of his wife and goes directly to the king and kills him. After killing the king, he and she expect to live a broad life of happiness and pleasure and enjoyment, which does not happen at all. She suffers from insomnia and sleepwalking, and he also suffers from depression. And towards the end of the play, she I guess kills herself, right? But before killing herself, she says this: I still have the smell of blood on my hands, though she has not killed Duncan. مين اللي قتل Duncan أصلا? It is Macbeth himself. But she feels responsibility, a great deal of responsibility for the killing of the king. I still have the smell of blood on my hand, all the perfumes of Arabia. لو بصينا للكوتيشن بتاع كريون مرة تانية بيقول ايه؟ No sacrifice can bring this to an end. هي كمان بتقول all the perfumes of Arabia بتستخدم النفي برضو couldn't make my little hand smell better. She cannot atone, he cannot atone. She's been responsible for the death of so many. He's been responsible for the death of so many. He's been selfish. She has been selfish. He's been looking for power. She's been looking for power. He has been developing his status as a king at the expense of others, and so has she done the same, right? So you have a great deal of common features between classical literature and English literature in form and in content. For example, قدامكم الجدول ظاهر مش كده؟ شايفينه؟
ايوه الجدول ظاهر،
Yes,
ايوه
sir.
شايفين.
Thank you very much. لو بصينا على الكونتنت على اليمين هنلاقي whatever content. انا مش هقف عند دي، هجيب لكم الكونتنت اللي انت ممكن تتخيله، زي مثلا ايه؟ فين I'm sorry. احنا فين؟ Something has gone wrong. New share. انتوا شايفين ايه؟ لسه شارحها قدامكم؟
لا اتغيرت. AR journey. I think that we have a website or something like that.
ويكيبيديا.
ويكيبيديا.
تمام، بس نرجع
Yeah.
للعرض نفسه. تمام، فين بقى البتاعة دي؟ طيب هستوب شير وارجع تاني. في حاجة تمنع الشير. طيب يعني هطلع وهدخل تاني، هطلع خالص من
already يا دكتور التايم بتاع الميتنج هيخلص وهيقفل لوحده، فممكن حضرتك لو
بالمرة
تعملي تاني.
كده. تمام.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much. بس الأول عشان ما يضيعش يبقى خلينا افتكر لأنه مختلف عن تيمز.